All right, if we could go ahead and get started. Everybody have a seat. I want to welcome everybody to the February 22nd, 2018 Metro Planning Commission meeting. I want to welcome everyone and the viewers on TV that joined us, and we'll call the committee to order. And the first is the adoption of the agenda. And commissioners, an agenda was sent to you earlier, and are there any questions? We'll need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
It's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the agenda has been adopted. Next is the approval of the February 8th, 2018 minutes, and those were also sent to you prior to the meeting. I hope that you've all reviewed those. Any questions, edits? We'll need a motion to approve the minutes. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the February 8th minutes have been adopted. Now is the time for recognition of council members. And Councilmember Kendall, you want to go now? Come on up, or you can do it during.
Well, I guess.
Come on up. Welcome. Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you. And good evening. Some of you probably don't know me. I don't come out often. I'm usually in agreement with staff recommendations, and on this occasion I'm not. I'm here on 003001. That's the DB Todd. I believe that's the map up there. Do I need for the staff to make a presentation before I speak?
Well, you can speak now, or you can go at the end of that presentation. We're going to do the consent agenda first, and then the deferral agenda. Councilman.
I'm sorry.
So you can speak. We'll let you speak after the hearing, or.
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to hear the rationale for the disapproval first. I really haven't heard.
Okay. Yeah, and then we'll call you up again to speak. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilman. I didn't see any other council members in the audience, so we'll go to the next item, which are under item E, items for deferral or withdrawal. Lucy?
Good afternoon. Items for deferral or withdrawal from this evening's agenda include item 3, starting on page 4 of your agenda, 2018 SP-016, City View Estates. Staff recommendation is to defer to the March 8th Planning Commission meeting. Item 4, 2018 SP-017, Glendale and Scenic. Staff's recommendation is to defer to the March 22nd, 2018 meeting. Item number 5, 2018 SP-019, the Oliveri property. Staff's recommendation is to defer to the March 8th Planning Commission meeting. Item number 7 on page 5, 2017 S-217 Old Hickory Crossing subdivision. Staff's recommendation is to defer to the March 8th Planning Commission meeting. Item number 8, 2017 S-271, the Jenkins property. Staff's recommendation is to defer to the March 8th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting. Item number 9, 5-73P, 2510 Music Valley Drive. Staff's recommendation is to defer indefinitely. Item number 11, the Apache Trail Market, 80-72P. Staff's recommendation is to defer to the March 8th Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you, Lucy. And so the items for deferral are items number 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 11. Is that correct?
Correct.
And just for the commissioners, we did receive a letter, which you have at your desk, from Council Lady Lee, and I want to thank the applicants for deferring those items. The council member asked for those items to be deferred, and we always really try to do that request. So the letter is at your desk, and so those are the particular items for deferral. Any questions, discussion? We'll need a motion to approve the deferrals. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it, and those items are deferred. Lucy, we're on item F, the consent agenda.
So as information for our audience, if you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Planning Commission today, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the Planning Commission's decision. To ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met, please be advised that you should contact independent legal counsel. Items on consent is noticed to the public. Items on consent will be voted on at a single time. No individual public hearing will be held, nor will the commission debate these items unless a member of the audience or the commission requests that those items be removed from the consent agenda. And those items are as follows. Starting on page 4, item 2, 2018 SP-006, 12452 Old Hickory Boulevard. Staff's recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all. Item number 10, 2008 SP-002, the Starwood Town Center. Staff's recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all. On page 6, item 12, 2018 Z-017 PR, staff's recommendation is to approve with conditions. Item 13, 2018 Z-020 PR, staff's recommendation is to approve. Under other business, number 17, accept the director's report and approve the administrative items.
Excellent. Commissioners, so again, we'll go through the list. The consent items are items number 2, 10, 12, 13, and 17. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. All right, Commissioners, you've heard the items for the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? It's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The consent agenda has been adopted. And so we are going to consider items number 1 and number 6.
Yes.
All right, item number 1. So so the only thing we're considering tonight is items 1 and 6. So if you're here for another item, it's either been deferred or already been passed. Thank you for coming down. Item number 1. Let's give everybody just a second to motion out of here. All right, go ahead.
All right. Item number 1 on this evening's agenda is 1600 Dr. D.B. Todd Jr., SP. This is a request to permit up to 3 multifamily residential units. Staff's recommendation is to disapprove. The site is located at 1600 Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard at the northeast corner of Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard and Cockrell Street and contains 0.29 acres. The site is currently zoned RS5, single-family residential. RS5 will permit a maximum of 2 lots based on acreage only. Application of the subdivision regulations may result in fewer lots. The policy for the site is T4 urban neighborhood maintenance, which is intended to maintain the general character of existing urban residential neighborhoods. These areas will experience some change over time when buildings are expanded or replaced, and when this occurs, efforts should be made to retain the existing character of the neighborhood. The plan proposes 3 detached multifamily residential units. All units will front Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard, and all units will have a maximum height of 2 stories and 35 feet. Each unit will have a pedestrian connection to the proposed sidewalk along Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard. A 6-foot bike lane, 8-foot planting strip, and 6-foot sidewalk are proposed along the frontage of Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard. Cockrell Street to the south is a local street and will require the construction of a sidewalk which meets the local street standard, a 4-foot wide grass strip, and a 5-foot wide sidewalk. Each unit will contain a rear-loaded 2-car garage accessed through a driveway connection to Cockrell Street. The current zoning, RS5, permits single-family residential uses. The proposed plan would introduce a multifamily residential use. A multifamily use is inconsistent with the land uses within the surrounding neighborhood. The predominant character within the neighborhood consists of 1- and 2-family structures on moderate lot sizes. The structures within the surrounding neighborhood contain wider front facades and shorter depth than the structures proposed in this plan. As you can see from the image, which displays the footprints of the existing structures in yellow, and the footprints of the proposed structures in red, the bulk proposed by the SP is not in keeping with the established character of the neighborhood. The site plan indicates the front setbacks range from 5 to 11 feet. As proposed, these setbacks are inconsistent with the established setbacks of the surrounding structures. If the contextual setback requirements established by the zoning code were applied to this property, a front setback which exceeds 50 feet would be required. Introducing structures with proposed bulk and shallow setbacks into the neighborhood, which contains large front setbacks, does not maintain the existing character. Therefore, staff's recommendation is to disapprove.
Thank you. We'll open this item for public hearing. The applicant will have 10 minutes. So come on up. The applicant, come on up. State your name and address, and then you can have 2 minutes of the 10 for rebuttal.
J.D. Jackson, resident of Nashville, Tennessee. I know that this proposal is being titled as multifamily, but it's actually 3 single-family structures. The structures that was on this property before were actual multifamilies. They were duplexes. Those duplexes were demolished, and we're looking to go back with 3 single-family homes. So they're not actual multifamily, duplex, triplex, anything of that nature. DB Todd does have these type of structures 2 blocks up on the corner of Dr. D.B. Todd Boulevard and Knowles Avenue. So we're keeping the maintenance, I guess they say neighborhood maintenance. We are keeping the characteristics of the neighborhood. We're just maybe putting three structures instead of duplexes, basically. The other multifamily homes on DB Todd are actual 4plexes and duplexes and triplexes. So this would not be a multifamily project. It would be actually 3 single-family homes. We have been going back and forth with planning as to how we could come to an agreement to get an approval. They gave us good guidance. We met all the setbacks for public works. We met all the requirements for the fire marshal. We met all the requirements for Metro Water. So for planning to disapprove, I'm really not in line with that because we are keeping the integrity of the neighborhood with this project. So we look to get approval on it.
Thank you, sir. And we'll reserve 2 minutes for a rebuttal. Councilman, you want to go now? Okay, come on up.
As I stated earlier, you don't see me often here, but this project, I'm familiar with the area because I grew up in the area, been in there for now 73 years. And I'm very familiar with D.B. Todd when it was 18th Avenue. And the gentleman is correct. Actually, in this part of D.B. Todd, you have a market right across the street from where this these facilities would be built, these homes. And up the street, there's an apartment complex which faces the bank, which SunTrust Bank is right up the street on the next block. And it's a 4-unit apartment complex. Very nice looking complex, I must admit. I was a little confused too in the terminology when we were saying there would be 3 multifamily units. There are actually 3 single family units that would be built on this property. My concern is, and of course I understand that it's neighborhood maintenance, and I live across the track off of Hammond Street, and where I live is not neighborhood maintenance, but it's basically the same character as a neighborhood. I've never quite understood that, and this was done long before I came along. But my big concern here is that we've got a lot of construction going on in the 21st District. Got a lot of contractors, developers who are coming to the neighborhood who want to build. But everybody wants to build a $350,000, $400,000, $500,000 structures. We have a real serious problem in the 21st District with affordable housing. Now, these are going to be rental properties, as I understand, and they're going to be 3 bedrooms. And my understanding from the developer who's here and can speak to that is that they will range from about $1,100 to $1,200 a month. That's unheard of right now in the 21st district for a 3-bedroom unit, especially a new 3-bedroom structure. So I'm very encouraged by that we would be getting what I consider some affordable housing. I mean, to some people in my community, even $1,100 is not affordable when they've been used to paying $500, $600, $700, $800. But at least this is one of the few structures that I've seen being offered to be built in this area that fit into that category. So I'm in support of it. I don't think it impacts the character of the neighborhood significantly anyway, because we already have several, you've got some triplexes, a couple of triplexes, I think, in the area. You've got that 4-unit apartment, which is right up the street, which faces DB Todd. Now, if this were a structure in the inner part of the neighborhood, I may have a different view. But this actually faces DB Todd. And I think all of us here are familiar with DB Todd. DB Todd is really what if you drove down it, you would think of it basically as a commercial street. That's where you have the not Wharton School, that was Wharton when I went to school. But you've got the elementary school, you've got 3 or 4 businesses there, you've got the bank, you've got like I say, they call it the Blue Store, which sits right across the street from this property. There's another building, another structure across the street, I think is used as not a frat house, but something of that nature. But at any rate, I'm here to support it. I think it will add to the area. I've looked at the renderings on it. It seems to be an attractive project. They're not very big. Now, I'm not familiar with the setbacks. I understand that the setbacks were approved by codes. I don't know. At least that's what I'm hearing from the contractor. But I think in this instance, if it were facing the other street, I would have more concern. But facing DB Todd with parking on the back, I really think it's a good project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. We appreciate you coming down. Anyone else wishing to speak in support? Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And how about Vice Chair, you want to go first?
So I'm sort of struggling here because as I look at the context of that whole area, it's pretty. It's hard to exactly understand what the context is. I mean, there's a lot of very small lots there. It looks like there's a lot of units that are placed. Obviously, I know we're trying to guide planning in the right direction so that over time we get some consistency. But, it seems to me that one of the big things is not so much the three individual homes, but the setbacks. And is there a way, or have you spoken with them about a way to address the setback concerns, or is there a way on the site plan to address some of the setback concerns?
I think we'd agree with you. We had a fair amount of debate internally about this one because, if you do look at the residential context elsewhere on the street, you do see much deeper setbacks with most of the homes. There are a couple of exceptions, as you say. This one just felt like a much tighter development pattern than what you have elsewhere. And in maintenance, we do try to be consistent with that block pattern. Right. Having said that, if you look at T4 neighborhood maintenance, you see that buildings built up to the street can be encouraged, say more than in a T3 transect. So that's what generated, I think, some of the debate with us internally on this particular proposal. I do believe we did speak with them about the setbacks, and it was just a different sort of product type than what they were interested in exploring. So we absolutely share our comments, and sometimes we're able to get to a resolution, but I think it's just a different proposal fundamentally than what is existing elsewhere on the street. But this one was a dilemma, I'll say.
And just to clarify, normally 1 or 2 units on a single lot is considered single family or duplex, but over 3 or more units we consider in our zoning code multifamily. Okay. And this one has 3 units on 1 lot, so that's why we referred to it as multifamily multifamily, but they are detached, and, I mean, you can look at this more like single-family detached in one sense, but the definition in our code would classify it as multifamily. So that's why we refer to it that way.
Okay. I mean, I'm torn here in that I understand that, I like that there is some emphasis on making these affordable units, and I think to do that, we need to have some flexibility with land use. But I also know that we need to make sure that things are consistent with policy, and we want to guide the redevelopment of neighborhoods in a way that makes sense and is consistent with our plan. So I'm going to listen. I'm kind of torn on this one.
Commissioner Tibbs?
Could you put that one up that shows the context with the setbacks again?
Forgive me, would you mind repeating the
That's
question?
okay. The one that has with the rest of the context, could you put that one up again?
The one that has the units.
Yeah, one of them had the units on there.
Yeah. Or the next one.
Yeah, that one's probably good. So it was, so per the setback, it would need to line up with these two? Is this what you did explore with?
Yes, so we reached out to codes and basically said, this is an SP, so we can establish a setback, but just to better understand how they would have viewed it, we asked what the contextual setback would be, taking into account the existing properties. And so that's when we mentioned that we had sought guidance from them. That's how we came to the contextual setback, which I think is 50 feet, and what they're proposing is ranges from 5 to 11 feet.
And 50 feet is where those other two adjacent homes are?
Right.
Yes, that's roughly 50 feet.
Okay. And is that measured on the angle, the diagonal? So they would be stepped, kind of, I guess? So it wouldn't be a straight line, but...
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But that was something that the applicant, you were saying, changed what they had planned to do. Is that what you had stated earlier? If they did push it back?
Yes, I think fundamentally it would have been a different design. I mean, they're proposing access from the rear and other things, which I think we can see as positives in a T4 neighborhood. And again, we debated this one quite a bit, but the footprint where it was located on the property was just from our view, different from the other residential structures elsewhere on the block. Okay. And the setback is probably the most apparent of those.
Because that was what I was trying to see if we could get closer to it. I have driven down this street several times, and it seems like it's a lot of mixture. Like Jessica was saying, even by looking at it's hard to even kind of really see where the character is, and this would obviously be a very positive addition to what's going on there. So it's I mean, I do realize, reading through the policy, that policy may not totally be worked with it, but it sure seems like it could be something that could work. I don't want to go against the policy on it, but I wish maybe we could tweak it to make it work with policy a little bit more. But I guess the only solution I have would be changing their development to make, at least as far as the setbacks is concerned, and then maybe I'd have a stronger argument to go with it if we could get that for it. Although, across the street, it may be a little less of a setback. So I don't know. It is a difficult one. So I'm sure that's why. Well, I'm going to have to listen a little bit more before I make a decision. But I do feel like this could be positive. It's on a corner. Maybe it could be a little different. But how to do it and still stick with policy is what I'm concerned about.
Councilman, how about we do everybody talk, and then maybe we can try to figure this out, because I think everybody wants to figure it out. We'll let the commissioners, and that way you can understand all the arguments, and then we can. Yes, sir. Commissioner Bichelle, you want to go next?
Can you show the slide one before this one? So I saw that, on that block on Cockrell, you have really small setbacks. And it looks to me like if you really look at the broader picture, most of them have really, really small setbacks. And even the two houses just next to this lot, they're single-family houses on single lots, but the lots are so long and skinny that they're very, very close together. So it wouldn't really look that different from those two, I wouldn't think. Is that right?
Well, as Lucy said before, we do have some exceptions, but we felt that when we examined the overall lot pattern, the facades, the depth of structures, that having this on the corner, which would more or less establish the character for that block face as you're driving along, would be inconsistent with maintaining the existing character at this location.
So just so I understand this, if we did not approve, if we do disapprove this, they could come back with a different specific plan that would just have addressed some of these concerns.
If we find that the plan is substantially different, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to keep listening.
Council Bedday.
Can you go one before? I want to see the one with the satellite picture.
Okay. Here?
Yeah.
Or we can go here.
Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in?
No.
There used to be a house there, right?
There was a duplex.
And what was the setback on that one?
I don't have that information. I believe it's around 30 to 40 feet.
So I know we don't get to grandfather in, but did you guys look into that? I mean, who demoed that house? Did they demo it, or it was demo before?
I don't have a record of a permit, but we could maybe have the property owner address that.
Yeah, I was just curious to know if we look at what was existing there. I mean, if you guys look at what was existing there.
No, we examine what's proposed with the plan versus the policy.
Okay. Well, Chair, I'd like to know who demolished that house at some point, if you don't mind.
Do what? I'm sorry, I was talking
not listening
to the director. I was not listening to you. Could you say that again, council member? I apologize. I always listen to every council member very closely.
You hurt my feelings.
Only council members.
I was just wondering if when we get them to come back, if we can get some information on who demolished the existing house. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else, council? Okay. Commissioner Moore.
I feel conflicted. I echo the thoughts that I've heard so far, and I guess I would just be interested. It seems like something can happen here, especially if the intention is to make these houses affordable, and just looking at kind of the neighborhood and just the difference there. I know that I respect. I know that you probably were torn too, it sounds like. So I would just like to see some type of compromise, and I don't even know where that would go. So I would just listen to the rest of the group.
Commissioner Godwin.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this. I certainly understand where the staff's coming from, and I appreciate their input. But and I am a huge fan of maintaining a pattern and the rhythm of the street. I just don't see any. If you just look down below, one block below, there's houses 10 feet away from the street. There's everything else across the street is kind of all over the map. So, I would like to think that this thing could be adjusted marginally, not to a 50-foot level, but to get to a point that we could all feel comfortable that's consistent with the policy. And I think this is one of those cases where the simple math of it doesn't work like it would in a normal neighborhood. So that's just my take on it.
My question is, can affordability be mandated as part of an SP?
We do have the condition for affordable housing, Bill 133, as part of the condition of approval. Should this be through council, I believe. I would defer to the councilman on that for any sort of affordability, should this make it to council.
Because I've actually seen people build something, get the SPs, and then turn around and sell it, and it's not so affordable. So I don't know how we assure that that stays affordable. The other is that I'm just loath to change neighborhood maintenance because it truly does have a domino effect. And once we make an exceptions, it's really easy to let the exceptions become the rule. And so I'm less torn than probably the rest of you, but I'm so willing to, I respect my peers so much and want to keep listening.
So after talking with the director and listening to everybody, I think that there could be some compromise, and we've talked to the council member. If it would be okay to ask the council member, I think that the staff is really willing to work to find a solution that would fit this parcel and then bring it back to the commission one meeting. Would you be willing to defer one meeting, Councilman?
Sure, I think that's an excellent idea. I did want to say, just in case I won't be able to come to the next meeting, I think I will. But as I think it was Mr. Bettany mentioned, right down the street from this project, we have a triplex that faces, if you look down on you can see the top of it there. In the middle there is a store that I was talking about. Across the street, there's a triplex which sits right on the street. I mean, it's like maybe 4 feet facing D.B. Todd. The house on the corner there of I think that's Knoll Street, which is down this way a little bit further. It sits right on the corner, and the side of it, of course, it's facing Knowles, but it's adjacent to D.B. Todd, and it's only like 5 feet or so from D.B. Todd. So I think the character issue, if you actually drive down D.B. Todd and look at those, it doesn't look like that would be out of character to have something 11, 12, 15 feet if they can work that out. At 50 feet, I don't think there's any way possible because of the depth of the lot as far as parking, unless you're going to park in the front of the lot or something. I'm not sure. But I would encourage to defer and try to work out something. But I just want to strongly say that I love the idea that we're going to get some affordable housing, hopefully. Can't guarantee it. I mean, I don't think we can control property rights of somebody who sells something, but right now I have the commitment from owners that that's what they'll do.
So let's, I think it's, instead of trying to mandate something on the fly, which sometimes gets us bad planning results, I think it would be smart to let our professional planning team work with the applicant and try to develop a balance. And I've heard that with every commissioner. And so if it's the councilman's okay with it, so if somebody would like to make a motion to defer one meeting, and let's try to see what that balance is with our professional planners.
So moved.
There's a motion to defer one meeting, and there's a second. Any other discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing none, all in favor of the deferral motion, say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Deferred one meeting. And we are on item number 6. So we're on item 6, and the folks that did pull item number 6 apparently are not in the room, but I want to make sure, is there anyone in here? Because item 6 was on the consent agenda originally, and so is anyone here in opposition on item number 6? So it was originally on the consent agenda, and Commissioner Sims?
We have several letters that were, we have several letters that are in opposition to it. I don't know if that matters.
If I can just clarify, there were 2 projects, one named McGavick, which is before you, and another one named McGavick Cottages, which I believe is what you might be referring to.
I think we actually have some on both.
Oh, you need to use the microphone that way.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah.
I think we have letters on this one. because it does refer to the 37 units. So, but
Okay.
you would know better than I do, because
Okay.
I know we have
knew-
some on both. But
Okay, it could be that we got some new ones in, but I knew we had correspondence on another case that's to the south, and they thought that it was on this agenda, but it's actually on a future agenda.
I didn't bring all those letters with me. But
So,
so can we see if there are letters here to?
Yeah, well, let's look real quick, and then, hold on one second, Bob.
I mean, my understanding was the same as Lucy, that there was some confusion about the letters that came in. I did not personally see any on this case, but there were some on a future agenda, for a McGavick on a future agenda, but I did not see the ones that were for this case. Now, they're,
Is this the same one as Curry?
no, that's the one that's on a future agenda.
Let's make sure, though.
And this is the McGavick Pike property, is that same thing?
We'll take a moment for a second. We want to make sure everybody's comfortable. Yeah, I think that's what the confusion was, is that they sent the letters in on the wrong,
so the letters were for Curry and for McGavick Cottages, and they thought that it was this project. And so after looking at the details of the public comments, we realized they were on two other projects for a future agenda that are just south of this area. But I don't have in front of me the
Right, I believe that it is confusing based on this letter, because they're talking about 73 homes, and they're referring to Curry Cottages, and those are other cases that we have coming up on future agendas. And so it's not clear to me on this letter if they're referring to this item number 6 or a future case.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
well, we have an option here. So it was on the consent agenda, and we took it off, and we can hear it. But there's no one here to speak in opposition to it. So we can hear the items and debate it amongst ourselves and listen to why the staff approved it. But Commissioner, I want to make sure you're comfortable with the staff report, or we can hear the item.
Oh, I just wanted to make, that letter was confusing. That letter, like Doug did.
It's not completely clear to me from that letter if they're referring to this case or a future one, because they are
Yeah.
not consistent on the number of units, the name of the development, or the road that it's on.
Right. And although it was from somebody who's actually head of Neighborhood or Community Association, so I just wanted to be careful if this letter was about this piece of property that we actually hear it, so.
When there's some citizens here, you can come up to the microphone, though, if you would. And
I'm Loretta Locato. I'm one of the ones that signed up to speak. There is some confusion about which properties was going to be heard today. At myself and a couple other residents that are here, we're not in favor of a bunch of multifamily homes coming in, because all of our lots are basically, an acre yard and all of that. So we just don't want to see things coming in, multifamily homes.
so let's do this. Let's go ahead and hear. Why don't we just go ahead and hear the case so that we can clarify what it is about, and that way you all can hear about it, and we can all learn about the case, even though we have it in writing, obviously. Let's go ahead and present I think it's prudent to go ahead and present the case. Some commissioners have questions. You all have questions, and so we can go ahead and do the case like a normal case, and that way there's no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay with all the commissioners? I want to make sure. All right. Item 6.
The next item on this evening's agenda is item 6, McGavick Pike Property SP. This is a request to permit up to 37 multifamily residential units. Staff's recommendation is to approve with conditions and disapprove without all conditions. The site is located at 3325 McGavick Pike, approximately 550 feet southwest of Murfreesboro Pike, and contains 6.05 acres. The site is currently zoned R6, which is intended for single-family dwellings and duplexes. R6 would permit a maximum of 37 lots with 9 duplex lots for a total of 46 units based on acreage alone. With the application of the subdivision regulations, this may result in fewer lots. The policy for the site is conservation and T3 suburban neighborhood maintenance. Suburban neighborhood maintenance is intended to maintain the general character of developed suburban residential neighborhoods. These areas will experience change over time, and when this occurs, efforts should be made to retain the existing character of the neighborhood. Conservation is intended to preserve environmentally sensitive land features through protection and remediation. The conservation policy identifies the presence of a stream in the southeastern portion of the site, which is intended to be protected, and a small portion of steep slopes in the northeast portion of the site, which is man-made. The property is uniquely situated adjacent to a district office concentration policy area to the north, on the edge of the maintenance policy area, with additional neighborhood maintenance to the south. The maintenance policy allows for large tracts of undeveloped land to be reviewed as infill sites, allowing for flexibility of design with a broader mix of housing type than is seen in the rest of the maintenance area when appropriate design and transition is provided. While this plan proposes multifamily residential use, the units fronting McGavick Pike provide a scale and massing that complements the single-family structures along McGavick Pike to the south. While there are residentially zoned lots across from McGavick Pike, from this site, the structures on these lots do not front McGavick Pike. Overall, this plan serves as a transition between the office uses and the single-family detached character to the south. The site plan proposes 37 multifamily residential units. 4 units will front McGavick Pike and are proposed to have a maximum height of 2 stories and 30 feet. The internal units are oriented towards either internal drives or open space, and all units on the site plan will contain a rear two-car garage. A large area of existing vegetation will remain along the southern property line, providing a natural buffer and open space for the units orienting towards the south. Vehicular access is provided via a private drive from McGavick Pike. The site provides an internal alley network that provides vehicular access to the rear of all units and visitor parking. An internal sidewalk network is provided, and each unit will have a pedestrian connection to this network, which in turn connects to the proposed sidewalk along the frontage of the site. A sidewalk, which meets the standard for a local street, a 4-foot wide grass strip and a 5-foot wide sidewalk, is shown along the entire frontage of McGavick Pike. This SP includes design standards for entrances, glazing, and facades for the units fronting a public street, McGavick Pike, as well as for materials, porches, and raised foundations. Elevations will be required with the submittal of the final site plan for all units. In conclusion, staff's recommendation is to approve the conditions and disapprove without all conditions.
Thank you, Patrick. We appreciate you presenting. We'll open this item for public hearing. Is the applicant in the room? Come on up. You have 10 minutes. Please state your name and your address, and then you can save 2 of the 10 minutes for rebuttal. Thank you for coming.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'm Alan Thompson with Reagan Smith and Associates, 315 Woodland Street. Here on behalf of our client proposing the development that you see before you. Just wanted to mention we did have a community meeting in December, mid-December, I believe is the 14th, per Council Lady Uzo's request. And there was acceptance of that meeting. The plan has changed since then. Originally, we had smaller homes fronting McGavick Pike there. Since that time, we have worked with staff on several renditions of the layout here in terms of getting the spacing correct and the form correct along McGavick Pike, which is where you're going to have any kind of visual into the actual site that we're seeing here. Again, I'd like to just repeat that, the density that we're looking for is equivalent of what we're looking at with an R6 as is currently zoned. Also, I think context is very important for this particular site. We have two 6-story office units in a parking lot immediately to our north. We have a railroad right-of-way immediately to our west. We're doing about 150-foot, 160-foot buffer along our southern property. Part of that is buffering an existing stream, but it's maintaining that existing tree canopy that's there as well. And then we're maintaining a portion of the existing tree canopy, as you can see in the rendering there, along McGavick Pike. So you will have a window of opening that's going to look into our site, but that's where you're going to be looking at larger single-family. You can see in the yellow there, those are single-family homes, larger than the interior homes, with more spacing between them to be closer to a transition of the homes to the neighborhood immediately to the south of us. That being said, we're adding additional screening per planning's request behind those homes so that you're looking at single-family homes and screening immediately behind it, and you're not going to see the deep interior of our development as shown there. With that said, I feel like we've really worked out a plan that is appropriately fitted for this area in context with where it is positioned and is consistent with what you would see in a T3 neighborhood maintenance policy. That being said, we agree with staff comments and all the comments and would appreciate your support. Thanks.
Thank you,
and
sir.
I would like 2 minutes for rebuttal,
Yeah, absolutely.
if needed.
2 minutes for rebuttal. Anyone wishing to speak in support? Come on up. You'll have 2 minutes and state your name and your address for the record.
Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Caleb Fuquay, general contractor and developer. I live in Springfield, Tennessee. We held a neighborhood meeting. First of all, we started this process around August of 2017. So we've been back and forth with planning, getting this plan exactly the way that it would fit the neighborhood. When we first started it, we were around 50 units, but then quickly realized that we needed to scale it down, put stuff in there that would fit into the community. So we held a community meeting in December. No one was there in opposition to this development, and we also had the landowner that is directly south that touches us was in favor of this development. So I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in support?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Brandon Knox. I'm a partner in the project. I live in Green Hills. To Caleb's point, yeah, we've been trying to do everything the right way. So we've had the neighborhood meetings. We have met multiple times with the councilwoman. We have met multiple times with planning, tried to do everything by the book. And to his point, we have it's a really well-positioned site. The railroad to the left is abandoned, then there's a nice break at the bottom, then you've got the two six-story office towers at the top. So we really selected this site because we think it'd be a really good place to build, and for the record, it's going to all be an affordable project, which is something that we do all around Nashville. We did over 200 units last year, all affordable, and we are trying to make a dent in the needs for affordable housing. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in support? Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Come on up. State your name and your address.
Loretta Locato, 601 Benson Drive in Nashville, in this neighborhood. They mentioned that they've had neighborhood meetings. We've not heard about those. They've mentioned that they've spoken to councilperson Holly Huzo. We've tried contacting her with no response. She might have met with them, but she's not given us any information when we've tried to get that information. As I said earlier, when we started this, we don't mind growth in the neighborhood, but we just want to make sure that it fits the neighborhood. We are single-family homes. There is a small cluster of multifamily homes that are quadplexes that do not fit the neighborhood. We have 1-acre lots or nearly 1 acre lots, and we've got a nice established neighborhood, and we'd like it to stay that way. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Come on up.
My name's David Lyles. I live at 521 Vinson, which was within a mile of this particular project. I just feel like that they're trying to build too many houses on this particular lot. As Mr. Cato said, we have large lots, lots of trees, plenty of room for growth for your kids and whatever the case may be. And as well, we've had some other issues not getting information about neighborhood meetings. We did have an issue about 8 years ago where we changed our zoning because they put a duplex in our neighborhood that wasn't really zoned there. And I just feel like this is too many houses for that particular, if you take the same amount of acreage with the houses, I think you've got maybe 6 or 7 houses on the same acreage. And I just don't feel like that fits the neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing. Oh, wait a second. There's a rebuttal, so we'll take that motion back. 2 minutes for rebuttal. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Sorry, thank you. Alan Thompson with Reagan Smith. For the public meeting, we did coordinate with Brandon Burnett of council and sent out information notice regarding that public meeting based off his direction. And this was not a required public meeting, but we did send that out per their requirements and held the meeting as requested. So that being said, again, we feel like we've met the requirements for the policy, and feel like this would be appropriate transition for this area, considering its location, the office buildings immediately to the north, and our separation really from the existing neighborhood. This lot is isolated to a degree. So with that, we'd appreciate your support, and we're here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, we'll declare the public hearing closed. And Commissioner Sims, you want to go first?
I did go out and look at this piece of property because it's quite, it's really a beautiful piece of infill here. And I think, if I understand correctly, that you actually are doing less than you could legally do. So I do like the special condition that's put on it that you not use vinyl siding, that you don't do the wood, so it makes it look more in context. I like the way you're doing the buffers. I like this whole plan. I think it's very well thought through and a very appropriate use of infill. So I'm for it.
Commissioner
I agree with Dr. Sims. I think that it's well done, nice blend, and I think we've got quite a bit of topography, a lot of slope on the south side of this property. So I think the impact's going to be, I think this is a good solution.
Commissioner Moore.
I'm also in agreement, and I do like that this project does seem to be a nice transition from the office building above it as well. So I support staff's recommendation.
Councilman?
Well, can you show the aerial picture? One farther away. You have something that zooms. So I was just wanted to see what they were talking about, the density of the homes and the surrounding of that property. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that's what they were talking about. That's it.
Commissioner Michelle?
I also went by this property, and I see that there are these bigger lots south of this property, but there's big business district just north of it, and it seems like they very sensitively worked with you all to design those. The whole designed so that the 4 houses that are facing McGavick are further apart, and the whole thing is set away from the lot next door with a lot of vegetation, and it seems like maybe even one of the best examples of how to put affordable housing in a situation like this that I've seen so far. I think it's great.
Commissioner Tibbs.
No comment. I agree with what other commissioners have already said.
Vice Chair.
I have no comments, but I'll make a motion that we approve staff recommendation.
That's a proper motion. And is there a second? There's a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. And now we are on to, that finishes our normal agenda, and we're on other business. Item 14, anything in historic?
Just our
commission.
We have our historical commission awards. I thought I'd written down the date. Oh, yes, I did. Nope, I didn't. But our annual preservation awards, I think they're March 6th. So we invite the public to come to that. It's our big event.
Excellent. And Jeff is not here for Parks Executive Committee report. We're just an update. We're still underway on the search. I want to thank everybody that gave names and recommendations to the HR director, and so we're well underway on that. And so hopefully in the next 2 to 4 weeks, I'd say, the first committee will be meeting, and so we'll let you know when we'll schedule the other meeting, but we're well underway with that, and so I want to thank everybody for that. I don't think, do we have anything else, Vice Chair? And so I just wanted to say thank you. Executive. Oh, that was the executive committee report. The director's report. Do you have anything, Bob? I know.
Just another reminder of our next work session, March 6th at 11:30 a.m. at 800 2nd Avenue South. We will be talking about, we're still discussing what we'll talk about, but we think we will talk about connectivity issues and how staff looks at connectivity. We'll look at neighborhood evolving policy and what that means, and maybe a few other things.
So this will be one that you won't want to miss, is what you're saying. Okay.
That's right. There's free food.
Free food, okay. Well,
if I can make a correction too, it was March 9th, Friday, March 9th.
Yeah. Okay. That's for the historical awards, okay. And then, Councilman, anything going on at the council level?
We instituted a small adjustment on how we review cases at the planning committee. So what we're doing now is we are creating a consent agenda. And all items that can be recommended by this commission are put on a consent agenda unless a council member wants to pull them out. And all the other items that have a recommendation against, they get discussed. So that expedites the meeting, and you probably don't watch our meetings, but if you do.
Yes, we do. Don't we watch your meetings?
But we wanted to make it more efficient. That way we can spend more time discussing planning issues, interesting cases. So just in case you happen to watch it and you see me reading through real fast, is we send the consent agenda to the council members the Friday before so they can choose to pull something out. So that's all I want to share, a small change in how we run the meetings.
Great update. And anything else? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.